Today we're going to be looking at a drill I call step-by-step jumps. This is a drill that I've used with advanced level athletes as well as beginners in long jump, so it's appropriate for any caliber athlete. It's good at any time of the year as well. You can use it as a starting drill for your season, or you can use it as kind of a refresher at a midpoint or towards the end of your season. The goal of this drill is to work on the progression of the long jump, but we're actually starting with the takeoff and then working backwards one step at a time. That way we'll be able to focus on things like foot contact, making sure we're pushing ourselves through the board, making sure we're getting low at the correct time and not getting low too early into our jump, things like that. The first segment of this drill is planting our takeoff foot on the ground, and then from this position we're going to try and push ourselves as far as we can into the sand, so trying to go up and out without necessarily adding any extra momentum other than what we already have. So you really have to focus on planting that foot into the ground, pushing through the ground, and then trying to get some extension. That way you can kind of push yourself as far up and out as possible. Ideally, when the athlete's foot hits the board for takeoff, we would want them to be at their lowest point at that moment, and then from there come up and out off of the board. Athletes that lower a little bit too soon might notice themselves feeling a little bit of a slowdown going into that takeoff, and obviously we want to have as much speed as we can control into that takeoff as possible. You can see the athlete's left foot moving a little bit as they're trying to go forward. So in this instance, I would advise them to try and keep that left foot still into the ground and just already start low. That way the only option you have to do is just to push yourself up and out. The next segment will now be starting with our opposite foot forward, and this is a simulation of working through the penultimate step and then going into the takeoff. So at this point, we should feel ourselves getting lower through that penultimate, and then once that takeoff leg hits, then we should be coming up and out like we did on the previous step. So as you'll see here, his opposite foot is planted on the ground, pushes through, and then pushes up and out, trying to cover as much distance as we can, emphasizing pushing through that second to last step and then pushing through that last step as well. Again, we'll see there was a little bit of a shift in the feet, so ideally in this drill we want to keep that right foot planted on the ground, push through that right foot, and then push through that left foot and go up and out from there. So through each one of these steps, seeing if we can plant our feet and emphasize pushing, 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 and not having to run through any of these steps. The next segment, we're back to starting with our jump foot forward, and now it's going to start feeling a little bit closer to a regular takeoff. We're still emphasizing pushing through these last three steps now, but now you get a little bit more momentum going into it. So you can see the athlete here pushes through that left foot, staying low, pushes through the right foot, and then comes up and out off of that plant foot. So that plant foot was the lowest part of their jump, and then they came up and out from there, finishing the jump with a landing. This drill can work by landing at the end of these takeoffs, or you can just do it by running into the sand. It's totally up to the coach or the athlete, whatever feels most comfortable for them at the time. And the last segment of this drill is now we're taking another step back, starting opposite forward again this time, and now you'll have a couple steps that kind of get into a little bit of speed, and then it's back to what we focused on before, which is pushing through that penultimate step and then making sure we're at our lowest once our plant foot hits the board, and then pushing up and out from that point on.